Putin's war, Putin's action, Putin's price hike.
President Biden mentioned Vladimir Putin nearly a dozen times in his 14-minute speech Thursday as he announced he's releasing oil from the nation's strategic petroleum reserve, an unprecedented 1 million barrels per day for the next 6 months.
And the bottom line is, if we want lower gas prices, we need to have a more oil supply right now.
Experts say gas prices, currently averaging $4.23 per gallon nationwide, could begin dropping within 3 days, but perhaps not as much as Americans would like.
Analysts warned that prices might not get much farther below $4 a gallon, that this measure was really intended and will really help to keep prices from getting to that $5 a gallon level.
In the meantime, critics worry Biden's move could leave the U.S. vulnerable in the future because the reserve stockpile was soon dropped to 338 million barrels, the lowest level since 1984. Republicans say instead, Biden should be boosting U.S. energy production. Senator Steve Daines of Montana says tapping into the reserves is a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. And Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell calls the move a drop in the bucket.
I think the administration's anti-fossil fuel views are sort of like a religion. Until that policy changes, we're going to have a problem. And, you know, things like this SPRO being opened up for 1 million barrels is a drop in the bucket.
President Biden is also going after oil companies, accusing them of allowing 9,000 approved drilling permits to go unused. He's calling on Congress to pass a use it or lose it policy that would force oil companies to pay fees on unused leases. The American Petroleum Institute already firing back, saying the administration once again has a fundamental misunderstanding of how leases work.
When you buy a federal lease, you have a 10-year contract with the government. It is an option, not an obligation to drill a well. You apply for a permit, you get a permit, you drill a well, you're producing, you get to keep the lease. Otherwise, you have to give it back to the federal government, which is to say you lose it within that contract period anyway.
The White House says it does have a plan to replenish the nation's oil reserves. It says it will use revenue from oil sales to restock the reserves when prices are low.